attachments to it. So if you are taking a free lunch today, be rest assured that you are given a free dinner tomorrow.
Well, it's quite some of those pressing issues in the news which we'll be looking to expand our conversation on. And whilst another build-up to an off-cycle election with keenly contested positions in it is a voting demographic of 1.7 million registered voters in Ondo State. But despite that number, we hear that over 238,000 plus PVCs remain uncollected. Now, this morning, we'll be making attempts to join the publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Ayo Fadaka, virtually to look at the build-up into the election and also to check on issues in the news. Now, this morning, let's kindly make a correction to his designation. He is the Special Advisor Media to the campaign organization and not the publicity secretary of the PDP. Now, if we have that all sorted out, let's check that our connection is indeed right to have Mr. Ayo Fadaka join on the program. Hello, Mr. Ayo, can you hear us? Well, I can see you. I'm still making to hear you. Good morning to you, and thanks for agreeing to come on the program this morning. Well, check that you're not muted at your own end, because it may appear as though you're muted on your own end.
Has been taken care of now.
All right, well taken care of, and thank you for joining the program. We'll get into the build-up of the Ondo election very shortly, but another pressing issue which my colleague and I had debated about is the position on the presidency on the former VP Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. They're calling him envious. They're saying he should focus on fixing issues within the PDP rather than in serving as a voice of reason to the current government. Care to make any comments on that before we progress to the build-up to the Ondo elections?
Well, I think that's a very unfortunate statement because we as Nigerians, we have the right to complain about how we are being ruled if we are not being driven very well. For over 1 year, going to 2 years now, thereabout, that President Tinubu has been in the saddle. It has been hell on earth for every Nigerian. Irrespective of your economic status, it's been absolute hell. And we should all be able to complain. We should be able to offer advices. All Vice President Atiku Abubakar has done is to profile new solutions that he thinks will take Nigeria out of the crisis we have found ourselves in today by trying to talk to the government. And it seems as if this is not a listening government. And even beyond that, I think the positions by Onaluga has been taken in recent times since they assumed this position has been absolutely unfortunate. Those positions lack maturity in approach, and it's very unfortunate that such a person who was in the trenches in the dark days of the Abacha rule has somehow lost focus. I don't know if it's psychophancy. I don't know if it's the spoil of the office that have bailed him over. Whatever it is an unfortunate development for him.
Now, on the position of the PDP vis-a-vis the government of the day, there have also been issues with the FCT minister, and in a build-up to the elections like we've seen, as we saw in Edo and now in Ondo, people are also looking at that influence of federal might as against issues within the forces in the PDP that should be able to win states. Do you think that this division has affected the results in Edo, and should it be a case of worry going into the Ondo elections?
Well, let me underscore the fact that we are not scared of going to this election because we know fear and scare will beat APC. APC has done so badly that it has become such a very serious scourge to the people of this country that they do not want to see anything about APC any longer. It is even beyond it being PDP versus APC, it is more or less the people against APC now. So we know we will beat APC hands down as everybody is taking a walk from the APC, but the criminality of that party, what we saw them do in Edo, what they did in Edo, tells us that we have to be extra careful. It's a party that does not seem to respect the electoral desires of the people. INEC INEC from the days of Yar'Adua to Jonathan was an improved and a better packaged INEC that we have begun to be having confidences in election results when it comes. But the APC has been in power. It looks like Nigerians have been voting in vain. And I think it is time that we rescue our nation from the vice grip of people who do not have respect for the people of the nation or their electoral desires. In those states, we are going to make our votes count. Whoever that seeks to use any power, any influence to compromise this vote will certainly have himself to blame. I am not threatening because the might of the people is bigger than the might of any government. They may seek to repress us, but the repression will not go the way they think it's going to be. What I am saying essentially is that they should allow our votes to count in Ondo. When that happens, we will beat APC hands down here. They should allow the people to go out and vote. They should not change the rules of the game in the middle of the game. Like it happened in Edo, the electoral law says that you cannot change collation from one place to the other. In Edo, we saw that happened. We saw collation needlessly suspended without reasons till tomorrow. Such attitude we do not want to happen in our state.
Mr. Ayo, let's talk about the peace accord that was recently signed ahead of the Ondo gubernatorial polls. Many people have argued that perhaps, on one hand, the peace accord is a necessary act to ensure that elections go free and fair in Nigeria, especially during state elections or gubernatorial polls. While on the other hand, some people are of the opinion that it is just a formality and doesn't really hold any water in terms of ensuring that there is peace in or during the election, considering the high level of violence that has been seen in recent elections across the country. Do you share the same thoughts, or which party do you fall under?
Well, the requisite need, the requisite qualification for peace, the requisite qualification for peace is justice. Once justice is seen to have been done, people will not threaten peace. It is when people inflict injustice, inflict cheating, that there is a reaction that comes from that. You cannot slap me and expect me to look the other way. So we're asking them to play by the rules, don't steal votes, allow votes to count, and there will be peace. As for our revered former head of state, who everybody respects, is because of him that people still attend those functions. It is more of a talk show about peace. It has no power to enforce peace. It even has no power to make people ensure that justice is dispensed at every level. So as far as I care and as far as I know, it is more or less, and apologies to their head of state and Bishop Kuka too, who pretend over this. It is more or less a worthless exercise. What we are asking for in this instance is that there must be justice here. People must not steal votes. People must not compromise votes. They should allow the votes of the people of Ondo State to count. I know we are winning this election. If it goes other way or otherwise that we don't, and we saw that the process is clean, fair and just, we won't complain.
Mr. Ayo, it appears that the PDP has always had this trend of crying foul even before elections take place. Like in the case of the Edo gubernatorial polls, we saw that members of the PDP were actively worried about the outcome of the election, citing that the APC wants to hijack it in certain illegal ways. And now you are on air here citing that the APC is a criminal party with criminal activities, especially when it comes to elections. Is perhaps the PDP not really united in such a way that they can fight their way through gubernatorial polls to clinch the most revered seats in a state? Is this because of the internal crisis in your party?
Well, since you began with Edo, the Edo people came out to say that the fellow that was wrecked, or that is even still wrecked there, is compromised. They said he has vested interest. And what happened after the elections? While the election was still ongoing, early results showed that PDP was leading in 2 senatorial districts.
Yes.
And suddenly, in the northern senatorial district, Esako, one of the Esako local governments, the police went into collation, drove everybody out, and hijacked collation. Somewhere in the senatorial district, they uprooted collation outrightly and took it to INEC headquarters for no just cause. That in itself runs contrary to the electoral law that states that collation shall not be removed from the designated places. Isn't that criminal? The cry of the Edo people, was it not, was the cry of the Edo people not justified by the actions that INEC took during that election? Our instance here is not too much far from that. We have said continuously here that the woman that is INEC commissioner here, we were in the University of Ife together. Yes, not Obafemi, we went to University of Ife together. He's from Ondo State. We have said that she had lived practically all her lives, childhood and adult of her lives in Ondo State. We have said that she is in bed with APC leaders. Each time we complain, the only time INEC has responded is to say she's not from Ondo State. While agreeing with INEC that she's not from Ondo State, on account of the fact that on her resume she put Ekiti State, where she does not live, And again, I say that in this country, if you have lived practically your life in a given location, you are more or less an indigent of that state. That is why my good friend, I continue to cite Rita Oji, who was in the National Assembly from Lagos State. We all know Oji is not a Yoruba name in any case. So it shows that this woman who lived there, who went to work in Abuja, retired and returned to her parents' house in Akure here, is from Ondo State. INEC is known not to post people that are from a state or have affinity to a particular state to such states to work. Why is our own different? And again, INEC said we were trying to help INEC to get credibility by complaining that move this woman out of here. Bring anybody from anywhere whatsoever to come and sit at top of the process. INEC did not have, INEC still lacks the moral, the morality to so do. Well, why they may say that there's no law that says nobody can serve in their state, but then we all know that they are not standing on any moral ground for doing what they are doing now. And the woman, Toyin herself, she's a lawyer. She's a very brilliant woman. She as a lawyer knows that even when there are cases before judges, when judges are suspected or known to have vested interest in the case before them, they recuse themselves from doing so, from sitting on such cases. Why can't Tony even say that as a responsible person, and have been elected to have vested interest in this, please, Mr. Chairman, INEC, let me stand aside. Let this election be conducted without me, and I will resume after the election. That will bring credibility to the process. That will take away every level of suspicion from the process. All what we require, all what we want, all what we ask for is for this nation to have a transparent electoral system, whereby the votes of the people, we always can't. Where that is not the situation, we may be laying landmines for our democracy and for our nation too. So we are begging the APC-led government to allow this process to be clean. Everybody in Nigeria knows that APC don't win the election in Edo, that PDP most likely won the election. And what did Ganduje, who is the chairman of APC, said? He said, yeah, now that they have gotten Edo, they are going to bring the templates they use in Edo to come and work in Ondo. I have not seen that kind of shamelessness before. How can you be touting yourself as the owner of a template that is criminal?
Well, Mr. Ayo, whilst that is a large concern following the outcomes of the election in Edo, but now on the position of INEC, whereas you've also raised concerns about the status of the resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola. Listening to her speak yesterday, she also talked about the level of preparedness vis-a-vis the logistical hurdles that are anticipated in some of the hard-to-reach and riverine areas of Ondo State. On that challenge, in the early deployment of electoral materials, do you have confidence that INEC will ensure that election materials are delivered to people in such areas on time? Hello, Mr. Ayo, are you still with us?
Yes, I can hear you again.
All right, let me take my question again. My question is on the position of the resident electoral commissioner, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Babalola, who spoke about the logistical hurdles, especially for the hard-to-reach and riverine areas in Ondo State. She reassured the Ondo voters that there will be no such issues going into the election come this weekend. Are you satisfied with the level of preparedness of INEC in terms of deployment of electoral materials?
It is yet to happen. I cannot give a post-certification to what is yet to happen. Let's see them deploy first. Or what she said is still a proposal.
Now, whilst that's your position on this matter, how about on the level of security? Because I listened to the IGP as well, and he talked about the fact that Amotekun should stay off the election, that we have enough police officers deployed for the election. Do you think that we have enough boots on ground to dissuade those looking to disturb the peace in Ondo State ahead of the polls? Well, whilst it may seem as though the network is developing some glitch, I'll take my question again if we can re-establish connection to Mr. Ayo Fadaka.
We actually know that statement will come. Again, please, I'm back with you.
Carry on, sir.
Let me use the opportunity to call on the IG. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me use the opportunity to call on IG to please police Ondo State very well on Saturday. We are aware that battalions of thugs have been moved into Ondo State. And we also know that they are programming them to take them to the countryside in Ondo State where they suspect that they will have enough power, enough clout to compromise the elections. Let me ask the IG now to deploy enough troops to the rural areas in Ondo State and stop these thugs from flying on Saturday. People do say that for every action, there is a reaction. If they do, there will be a reaction to them. But we desire peace in our state. Let the talks that the APC has important to our state, please.
Oh, the network is being unkind to Mr. Ayo as he's looking to make his points there, but quite challenging in a build-up to Saturday's election again, which would be our next question, is the amount of uncollected PVCs.
Yes.
Over 295,000 plus, and I was hoping to get the view of Mr. Ayo on why such a huge number of PVCs are yet to be collected with just 6 days to the polls. I don't know if the network will allow for Mr. Ayo to complete his thoughts, but Chijoke, it's one of those concerns, voter apathy, each election after election.
Well, voter apathy is quite a cancerous issue in Nigeria's electoral system. It has always been there, especially when people sort of anticipate the outcome of an election even before the election itself holds, where you find that, I believe at this point we probably have Mr. Ayo back on the line. Before I will come back and continue this, I think we should
let's join him.
Let's join him. Hello, Mr. Ayo, can you hear me?
Thank you so much.
What
you were talking about voter apathy is a serious challenge that we have.
Yes.
When we go out to campaign, people will tell us that if we vote for you, they will still steal the result. We encourage our people to come out and vote first and leave the management of the result to us. We will make it absolutely impossible for them to steal our votes.
Yeah.
We know they are rigging headquarters. The APC rigging headquarters in the south is in Owerri. We have won them, and we know all what their plans are now. We are a step ahead of them. We are walking ahead of them, and we will protect our votes. We will protect our votes. We will ensure that nobody will be able to compromise votes on election day. all that will be required, all that will be needed to ensure that the electoral desires of the people are protected will be done to the very best of our ability. Therefore, I'm asking the people of Ondo State, if they are watching this program, or whoever can reach out to anybody here, to please encourage everybody here to go and vote. We cannot continue with the planlessness, with the lies-of attitude to governance that APC continues to demonstrate here. Life is tough. They have actually brought hell to come and meet us here on earth. They are not even waiting for us to die to go to hell again.
Well, Mr. Ayo, considering the fact that you had mentioned that people perhaps anticipate the outcome of an election even before the election holds, and they sometimes think that their vote might not count. It's a good thing that you have reassured them that you and your people will be on ground to ensure that they exercise their franchise, and what belongs to them, the mandate that is theirs, will be delivered to them. But let's talk about security again. Do you think it's perhaps one of the reasons why people show immense apathy when it comes to elections, especially state government or governorship elections in states where it appears as if there are always thugs on ground ready to pounce on people who are not voting for the preferred candidate who is trying to rig his way into power?
Well, I must say that thuggery activities in my state has not been rife for years gone by now. Until now, that they are saying that they want to use the template which Ayo that you are used to win his party ticket, which was the use of thugs for this election. Yes, apathy on that score is rife, but our people are primed up now. They are going to go out. People are going to go out to vote in spite of that, because they do not want to continue with a party whose governments do not have useful plans for the state and the nation. So even if we have apathy, it will not be serious enough to prevent us from having a decent outing in this election.
Well, Mr. Ayo, we must thank you for your time on the program this morning. We wish you the best going into Saturday's polls. We hope to get feedback on how it goes or pans out come Saturday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time I spent with you this morning.
All the best then. Now, ahead of Saturday's elections, let's also let you know about some of the numbers of concern. In 18 local government areas in Ondo State, 17 political parties greet the face of the ballot. In 200